Hi friends, welcome to the K4 project. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make Christmas ball ornaments like these using double pointed needles. So let's get started. These Christmas ball ornaments are based on a Christmas stocking that I showed in a previous video. This is a free pattern, and if you look up in the show notes, you'll see the link to get this pattern. If you want the full version of the pattern, you can also find it on my website at thek4project.etsy.com. And this stocking is written for both flat, straight needles or circular needles. I have it written for both those patterns. And with it, you'll just need two colors. You can use wool or acrylic. For the stocking, I did this pattern in Lion Brand. No. I did it in Cascade Yarns 220 Superwash. But I'll show a picture of this. But for the ornaments, I mixed it up. I did some with acrylic and then some in the Superwash. This one was made with Loops and Threads impeccable yarn from Michael's Craft Store. And they've got loads of colors, so you don't have to just have white and red, but this is what I used for this, and I'm going to use the impeccable acrylic yarn today for the sample I'm going to be making. So for the Christmas stocking, what I did was I have the motifs throughout this piece, and so then I just created Christmas stockings to match it. So here's the first set that goes with the first motif. And then the second set, I have trees. Like this. Oops, there they are. And then today we're gonna do the third set. I did it in white, like that. But now today we're gonna do the reverse and make the base color red and the motif color white, just like the stocking here. So that's what we're gonna do today. So to make today's Christmas ball ornament, you're going to need two colors of yarn. You can try and use some stash yarn. This uses very little yarn. In fact, the stash that I have is right here. I'm not sure how many grams that is, but it's like less than 25 grams, I'm sure. And I'm going to be making the motif that matches the Christmas stocking here. If you want this motif pattern, just comment ornament in the comments and I'll send you a link to get the free version. If you want to get a full version of all the motifs that coordinate with this Christmas stocking, you can go to my website at thek4project.etsy.com and I'll supply all the motifs for the stocking here. And if you purchase that, a portion of the proceeds goes towards helping animal welfare, so thank you in advance. So we've got two colors of yarn or your stash yarn, size 6 double pointed needles, and don't worry if you aren't very good at using double pointed needles. The more you practice, the better you get. Don't be intimidated by them. It's worth learning for projects like this, and these are great to learn for sock knitting as well. You can even make this Christmas stocking with the double pointed needles, and it's very useful to do that. So we're going to do size 6, the scissors. I don't know if I'm going to use a stitch marker. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If you like to use it, I suggest keep using it. And then that's it. So let's get started. I have the version that I'm going to use right here. This is the chart. We're going to start with the loop here, the hook. And to do this, you create an I-cord. So my base color is going to be red. And I'm going to cast on 3 stitches. So I'll do the long tail cast on. It's very basic. I'm just doing 3 stitches here. If you don't know how to do the long tail cast on, just use any cast on you can do. And what you're going to do is the working yarn is to the left of the needle, and you're going to keep the working yarn to the bottom of the needle, not to the top like you normally would do when you start knitting. And that's what creates this I-cord. So the working yarn here connected to the ball is at the end of the knitting right here on the first stitch, and we're going to knit the first stitch of this row and just knit all 3 stitches. And then give a tug with the tail end yarn. And now the working yarn is at the tip of the needle. I want it at the bottom of the needle, so I'm just going to turn the needle around so that it's in that position. Remember, working yarn at the end of the needle, not at the tip. And then just keep knitting 3 rows, or sorry, keep knitting 3 stitches. And you're going to do this for 20 rows. So this was row 2, give a little tug, rotate the needle. And I'll see you back here after I finish 20 rows. Okay, here's 20 rows of the I-cord. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to connect the first row to the final row to create that loop. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to slip 3 stitches onto the needle, and it doesn't have to be precise, just get them at the end of the row. So, and it just has to be, it doesn't have to even be a whole stitch, just even like a half a stitch is fine. All I'm trying to do is connect this so that I can create the loop. So there's 3 strands on here. I don't know if you can see that. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to double knit. So you've got 3 stitches on needle number 1 and needle number 2. I am going to make it so needle number 1 has the working yarn towards me in the front, and needle number 2 is the first row of stitches that I started. So I'm going to insert the needle number 3 into needle number 1, the first stitch in needle number 1, the first stitch in needle number 2, wrap the yarn around needle number 3 and slip it through the stitches on needle 2 and 1, and slip those off the needle to create that first stitch. Give a tug on the yarn to tighten the loop on needle number 3. Now insert needle number 3 into the next stitch on needle number 1 and the next stitch on needle number 2. Let me get that in there. And there we go. Wrap the yarn around needle number 3 and slip it through the stitches on needle 2 and needle 1. Now I've got 2 stitches on needle 3 and 1 stitch left on needle 1 and 2 that I need to knit together. So insert needle 3 into needle number 1 and needle number 2, wrap the yarn around and slip the stitches off needle 2 and needle 1, and we're still back to needle 3 stitches on needle 3, but we've created that loop. So now we don't have to deal with that later. Next, we are going to increase these 3 stitches into 6 stitches by knitting in the front and back of each of the 3 stitches. So we'll take the first stitch and we're going to knit in the front, and then we're going to knit in the back. There's our first increase. Next stitch, knit in the front, then the back. Now we have 4 stitches, next stitch front and back. Okay, we have 6 stitches. So we're going to take these 6 stitches and we're going to transfer them evenly onto 3 needles. So let me get a little yarn ready. And now we'll start from the back. I'm going to cut this tail end just a little bit so it's not completely in the way. I'm going to keep a few inches on there and I'll weave that in at the end, but now it's not going to be as much in the way. So I'll put 2 stitches on the first needle and then 2 stitches on the second needle, and that means the third needle will also have 2 stitches. And now we've got to make sure we're working in a circle, and to do that, this is the beginning of the row, and I want it to be at the, how do I want to show you? I want it so that the stitches lie on top of the loop, like that, and then I want this yarn tail to be kind of like my stitch marker. So I'm going to place it in between the last stitch I did, right here, and then that's going to be my first stitch of the row. So now the yarn tail is in between that, so I don't need a stitch marker necessarily. I'm just going to use that yarn tail as my guide for right now. And then the first stitch, 2 stitches on needle 1, we're going to call this, is going to be knit. So we'll knit the first 2 stitches. We're going to knit this whole row of 6 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and it's going to be a little wonky at first until we get it established with the total number of stitches that we're working with. Then needle number 2 is the middle 2 stitches. We'll get this, it's going to be awkward at first if you're not used to using double pointed needles, but don't worry, it won't get like this the whole time. And then the final 2 stitches on needle 3. But this is what it looks like so far. It's a little more relaxed. You know the last stitch you did is on needle 3. We have needle 1 here, needle 2, and needle 3. So I just knit 6 stitches, and now this is the next row. Row 3 is going to be an increase row. So I'm going to knit in the front and the back of every stitch, and I'm going to increase 6 stitches. So 6 stitches on this row will turn into 12 stitches. And I'll hold the other 2 needles with my back fingers. And then the main needle I'm working with, I'm going to use with my index finger and thumb to manipulate, holding the stitches on the needle. And really, once we get more stitches on here and once it gets more established, it's going to be more relaxed and easy to work with. So I'm knitting front and back. And then one more. Okay, so now there's 4 stitches on each of the 3 needles, and I'm at the beginning of the row. My yarn tail is indicating it with a stitch marker, and I need to now knit this next row all the stitches, so I'm going to knit 12. So I'm going to work with just that one needle, needle number 1, and I'm holding the other 2 needles to the back of my hand. One more needle. Okay, this is what it's looking like so far. So now we're on row 4. We're going to knit in the front and the back of each of the stitches and increase 12 stitches. So from 12 on this row, it'll turn into 24 stitches. This is row 4. See, this could get in the way, so you just use your fingers. It won't be like this the whole time, I promise. So now I have 8 stitches on this needle, and this is pretty much how you can gauge your rows and where you've begun and ended because of the stitches that are on here. There's 4 on this needle, so I know that's next, of course. And you'll find a rhythm when working with double pointed needles that works for you, and where to position your needles. It's up to you. It's what feels best for you. Sometimes I put the needle that I'm working with on the front of the previous needle. It just depends. Okay, so I just finished an increase round, and now I'm up to 24 stitches, and I'm going to knit the next round, which is round 5. Whoop, I lost that stitch. There we go. I found it. One thing I found when working with the double pointed needles is that when you finish one of the needles and you're going to the next, so here I'm on needle number 2 and I'm going to needle number 3, so I'm ending this and I'm going to the next needle, and when I knit that first stitch I give a little tug so that the previous stitch from the other needle doesn't have much of a space. So I'll give a tug after I make that first stitch, and I'm tugging it together so that there's no space gap in between the needles. Okay, so row 6 is going to be the next increase round, but instead of knitting front and back of every stitch, we're going to knit the sequence as follows. Knit 1 stitch, and then the next is knit front and back. Knit 1, knit front and back, and repeat. Knit 1, knit front and back, knit 1, knit front and back. And that's going to increase, again, 12 stitches. Knit 1, knit front and back. Knit 1, knit front and back. Knit 1, knit front and back. And you should have 12 stitches on the new needle. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay. And then repeat that for the next 2 needles to finish the row. And we'll give a tug. Now that we just finished an increase round to 36 stitches, round 7 is going to be the knit round. So just knit every stitch. Get some yarn. And one more. So what you can do if you are not sure where your beginning and end of the row is and you don't want to have to think or look for those little bumps in the previous rows, is then you can use your stitch marker and just place it on the knitted portion. It doesn't have to be on the needle, because if you're going by the exact stitches on the needles, it's not going to stay. But if you have one of these little hooks or scrap yarn, you can just put it in one of the previous rows that mark the beginning and end of the row, like that. So now I don't even have to think about where the bumps are, or what row I just did. Okay, so now we are on row 8. Row 8 is an increase row. It's going to be our final increase row, and we're going to increase to 48 stitches. And to do that, we're going to knit 2, and then the third stitch is a knit front and back. And we'll repeat that. Knit 2, knit front and back. And then do that throughout the row to increase 12 more stitches. One, snug 2, knit front and back. 1, 2, knit front and back. 1, 2, knit front and back. 1, 2, knit front and back. Okay, so now we have 16 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So just repeat that on the next 2 needles to finish the row. Okay, now we have 48 stitches. Let's knit one row for all the stitches to complete this. And that'll be round 9. Last row. So now that we have finished shaping the top of the Christmas ball, we are going to start working this motif right here. And so I work from the top row here all the way to this row here, and that way it's going to match the stocking. And so the repeat that I'm going to do is with 2 colors. I have to add on the white, and I'm going to start with counting 3 red, 1 white. I'll show you here. I'm going to start right here and do 1, 2, 3 red, 1 white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 white. So the sequence is, once I get into it, 1 white, 5 red, 1 white, 5 red, and repeat. But I'm going to start in the middle of that portion with the 3 red. So I'm going to knit. The first 3 stitches are going to be red, but to add on the white yarn, I'm going to do this little hack. I'm going to knit 2 in the red, and then I'm going to insert my needle into the next stitch to start. But before I wrap the yarn around to make a knit stitch, I'm going to add the white yarn, and I'm just going to cross this yarn tail over the yarn to start knitting it in. I'm not actually using it yet. I'm just letting it lie over the working yarn. And now I'll knit that 3rd stitch. And that's just securing the yarn, the new yarn, into the piece. So then the next stitch is a white yarn. And I'm also going to be weaving in this new yarn tail as I go, because I don't like to weave it in at the end. And so for my Fair Isles, I weave it in as I go. So there's 1 white stitch, and now the sequence begins 1 white, 5 red, 1 white, 5 red throughout the row. So there's 1 white, and now I'm going to do 5 red, and I'm going to weave in that white piece, white yarn tail as I go by crisscrossing it over and under the working yarn. I also have to carry over the second yarn too, so every 3 stitches I'm going to carry over the yarn that's not being used. So there's a little bit of yarn chaos going on at the moment, but once this yarn tail is woven in enough, then we're just working with the 2 yarns, 2, 4, 5. So the next yarn's white. And then I've done enough weaving in for the yarn tail. I'm just going to give it a little tug to keep it snug. And I don't like yarns to get crisscrossed too much, so I just try and make sure that they're not tangled too much after each row. But we'll finish this row. We just did a white, now we need to do 5 reds. And I carry over the yarn every 3, maybe sometimes 2 stitches, just depends. But there's the carryover. 2, 4, 5. Now, also one thing to note is when you're working with double pointed needles, even if it's not time to carry over the back yarn, the yarn that's not being used, I like to have it towards the end of the needle, just so when you go to the next needle, it doesn't bunch up. This one, luckily, I have 1 red, 1 white at the end of the row, so I don't have to manipulate that or carry it over sooner than normal. I'll show you when we get to something that needs another carryover of a back yarn. Does that make sense? I hope it does. 1. So, for instance, I just did 1 red knit. I want to carry over that white and just make sure there's not too much of a gap. So I'm just going to twist it to carry it over to this needle, since I have to do 5 reds before, and so I'll pretend like I didn't do that. I'm going to carry over the white again, but it's up to you. You might not even need to do this carryover if you don't feel like it, because it's not going to be seen. So it just depends how you like to knit. That's just something I like to do to keep the back nice and neat. 2, 4, 5, and it works for me. But in knitting, there's no wrong way to do things. So if you feel like you have another way to do it, then go for it. I look at knitting like a language where there's more than one way to get your point across. I think knitting, there's more than one way to show your work and create your beautiful piece. 2, 4, 5. Okay, that is row 1 of the Fair Isle. And if you have trouble keeping track, just mark the row as you go. I can see it for myself just when the pattern starts, but I have been known to skip a row by accident. So if it's easier for you to just mark it so you don't have to think about it, do it that way. I'm on row 2 of the Fair Isle. So it looks like the sequence I have is going to be 1 white, 1 red, 3 white, 1 red, 1 white, 1 red. So I'm going to start the sequence at the 3 white. So it's going to be 3, 1, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 1, and repeat 3, 1, 1, 1. So I have to do those first 2 first before I start that sequence. So it's going to be 1 white, 1 red. And give a tug of the yarn to start the row so that there's not a gap. 1 white, 1 red, and now we begin the sequence 3 white, 1 red, 1 white, 1 red. So I'm going to keep in my head the mantra 3, 1, 1, 1, and repeat. And I've got 3, 1, 1, 1, repeat, 3. So here I'm going to just carry that that red yarn behind by crossing it with the white yarn. I need to do 1 more white. And then it's going to be 1, 1, 1, 1 red. Give a little tug. 1 white, 1 red, 3 white, 1, 1, 1, and then 1, 1, 1. But we only have to end with 1 because we're at the end of the row. So this is what it's looking like for row 2 of the Fair Isle pattern. And now we're on row 3. And the sequence, we have to do 1 red and then 2 white, 1 red, 2 white, 1 red, 2 white, 1 red. So the mantra is going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 throughout the entire row. So we start with the 1 red. Two white. So 2, 1, 2, 1. And do this throughout the row. And move that paper out of the way. Repeat that for the next 2 needles. All right, we finished row 3, and that's what this is looking like. Row 4. So we'll start with 2 red, and then 3, 3, 3, 3 is the mantra. 2 red, and then 3 white, 3 red, and repeat 3 white, 3 red. Okay, starting to see some pattern forming. We are on row 1, 2, 3, 4, row 5. Here we're going to do 1 white, 2 red, 1 white, 2 red, 1 white, 2 red, repeat. Start with 1 white, and it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2. 1 white, 2 red, 1 white, 2 red, and repeat. That's what it looks like. Okay, and here we go. So for this next portion, we're doing the zigzag portion of the pattern. We just finished the diamond, and now we'll do the zigzag. We already started the first stitches of the zigzag. This sequence is going to be 2 white, 3 red, and then it's going to be a repeat. 3 white, 3 red, 3 white. So we'll first start with the 2 white. And then we'll do 3 red, 3 white, 3 red, 3 white. First needle. Okay, now the next row is going to be 1 red, 5 whites, 1 red, 5 whites, and that's going to be on repeat. starting with the first stitch, 1 red and then 5 whites. One red, let's see how we can detangle this. Okay, so just finished that row, and you can see the tip of the zigzag right there is what we just are finishing here. So it seems like we're halfway done. Now we have to do the reverse portion of it. So we're on the next row, and we just finished this section here. And now we're going to do 2 red, 3 white, 3 red, 3 white. So we'll do the first 2 stitches in red, and then it's going to be 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and continue to repeat that. 3 white, 3 red, 3 white, 3 red, 1 to complete the round. Okay, so the next round is going to be 1 white, 2 red, 1 white, 2 red, and it repeats. White, red, white, red, white, red, 1 white, 2 red, 1 white, 2 red. So we've got 1 white, 2 red, 1 white, 2 red, and repeat. 1, 2. 1, 2. And you can see how much smoother it is using the double pointed needles now that we've established the piece with stitches. So we finished the zigzag portion and we've started on the final little mini diamond. If you see some loose stitches that you don't like, you can try and clean them up as you go by pulling the stitches and seeing if you tighten the right ones. But I am on the next portion and I'm at here, so I'm going to do 2 white, 3 red, 3 white, 3 red, 3 white, 3 red is the repeat. So start with the 2 white, and then it's 3 red, 3 white, 3 red, 3 white, repeat. That's what we've got. Next row, I'm right here, so it's 1 red, 2 white, 1 red, 2 white, and that's the repeat. 1 red, 2 white, 1 red, 2 white, 1 red, 2 white, and so on. 1 red, 2, 1, 2. We're in this section of the pattern. 1 red, 2 white, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. here we are. It's getting close. A couple more rows and we'll finish the Fair Isle portion. Next, we've got 2 white, 1, 1, 1, and then it's 3 white, 1, 1, 1. So we first have to do the odd stitches first, the 2 white, and then we start the repeat. 1 red, 1 white, 1 red, 3 whites. So it's 3 whites, 1, 1, 1. 3 whites, 1, 1, 1. Oops, I did it again. And last stitch. And then last row of the Fair Isle is going to be 1 white, 5 red, 1 white, 5 red. 1 white, and then 5 red, weave. One white, okay, so there we are for that row. So I'm going to cut the yarn, white yarn, because I no longer need that. I'll get that out of the way. And the final row of the Fair Isle chart is just a solid white row. So with this row, I'm going to weave in that white yarn tail so I don't have to deal with it later. So just knit every stitch and I'll cross that white yarn tail over and under. So I insert the needle into the stitch, cross the yarn tail over the working yarn, knit that stitch, then the yarn back into the new stitch, cross the tail end yarn over the opposite direction of the working yarn, and then knit that stitch, and then repeat that, 6 to 10 times, I suppose. And that's going to weave it in nice and good. One more time. Oh, yeah, we'll do a couple more. tug it, and then I can just cut that or leave it in because it's just part of the stuffing. It's just up to you. Okay, this is the finished portion of the Fair Isle pattern. As you can see, I've just done the opposite of this Christmas ornament, and it matches the stocking. And so the next thing I'm going to do is shape the bottom of the ball, this portion here, and then show you how I stuff it. And so we're almost finished. So next we will shape the bottom. So to shape the bottom portion of the ornament, you're going to do the opposite of what you did for the top portion of the ornament. So the first row I'm going to do is knit 2 stitches and then knit 2 together. And I'll do that for the entire round. So knit 2 and then knit the next 2 together. And repeat. And I'm decreasing 12 stitches on this round, so it'll go from 48 stitches back down to 36 stitches. Since we just did a round of decreased stitches, the next round is going to be knit to even that out. So we will knit the 36 stitches of the next round. Now we do another decrease row. This one is going to be knit 1, knit 2 together. So we knit 1, and then we knit the next 2 together. And we will be decreasing 12 stitches in this round by knitting 1 and knitting 2 together. Okay, so we just did the decrease round down to 24 stitches, 2, 4, 6, yep, 24 stitches. So we need to knit the next round to even it out. Here we are. So for this next round of decreases, we're going to knit 2 together around the entire round. So knit 2 stitches together, next knit 2 stitches together, knit 2 stitches together, and repeat. So knit the first 2 stitches together, the next 2 stitches together, and we're going from 24 stitches down to 12 stitches. So that there's 4 stitches on each needle. And now we have to knit the next round, knit every stitch to even out the stitches. So now we are getting this bottom shaping, it's getting really tight around here. So you can start stuffing at this point here, just don't stuff all the way. And so I'm taking just some polyfill that I have, and I'll start stuffing before I do the next decrease row, just so it's easier at the end. I mean, you can wait till the next round, but it's just going to be a tighter hole to pass the fiber fill through. And I'm not stuffing it all the way, I'm just stuffing it enough so that the top portion at least is done, and then the second half of the portion I can do at the very end. And here I'm just manipulating the stuffing. This is recycled stuffing, by the way, so if you have new stuffing, it might be more shapeable, whereas this has some funny bumps going to it. So this is what it's looking like so far. This side's a little sorry, so I'm going to fix that a little bit by adding some stuffing to the top. And I'll add a little bit more. And I think that's enough stuffing for now. I'll finish filling it in a couple more rounds. But that's pretty good. That's looking pretty exciting. Making me feel like Christmas. Okay, so I have to do a decrease round again. And it's getting a little more difficult. So I squeeze the stitches together, and then I tighten to the yarn. I give it a nice snug tug, because these stitches become pretty loose at this point. And I'll show you at the end how we can correct that though, because you'll see start seeing some gaps from the yarn, and there's a way to fill those gaps, but that's what we do when we finish. So right now I'm just knitting 2 together for each needle on the round. So it's going from 12 stitches down to 6. See how small that little hole's getting? And you can play around and manipulate the shape even more if you want. I don't even know if I'm going to add more stuffing to it. I kind of like how it is. One more row. We're going to knit this row to even it out. And now it is awkward to knit, but we can work with that. Okay, so a few things are going on. We've finished knitting the rows. Now I have to decide, do I want to fill it even more? I kind of like the shape that it's at. This has a little wobbliness to it, so I'm gonna just take a little more fiber fill and see if I can do that. If your finger doesn't fit, use your needle or use like the back of a pen maybe, or pencil. And this isn't the only way to shape it. I think that's pretty good though. I like that. So what I'm going to do to finish it off is I'm going to cut the yarn. I'll give it a nice little length of a yarn tail, like 10 inches. And I'm going to feed this yarn tail through each of the last 6 stitches here. So I'll knit like normal, but I'll feed that yarn tail all the way through instead of creating a new stitch. Feed that yarn tail through the next stitch. So now I'm down to 2 needles. Pull, and I don't know how well you can see it on here, but there's some gaps in here, and if you choose, you can either leave it the way it is and just scrunch this ball up and try and shape the fiber fill to the way that you want it to shape, which is easy to do, but I still need to weave in the yarn tails. So I'm going to take a little crochet hook, and on the bottom portion, I'll show you how I fill in the gaps here a little bit. I'm just feeding this yarn tail through one of the sides. I'll grab it and then feed it all the way through. And then I'll turn it towards me so the tip is facing me, and I'll just weave this yarn tail through half the bar of one side of the stitch and half the bar on another side of the stitch down the line. And I'm even skipping a couple stitches as I go, and then that fills in that gap. Now you don't have to do that. That's just an option of one way to correct this, because you have to weave in the yarn tail anyhow, right? So you can help fill the gap. And now I'm getting all this fiber fill coming out too, which I'll have to cut later. So I'm going to just fill the half bar of a stitch on one side and another half bar of a stitch on another side until I get towards the center. There's no specialty involved in that. And to clean up the fiber fill, you can just take your scissors and clean that up. I can cut this. I'm going to cut it though from far away. So cut this, don't cut the project though. That's the bottom. It's a little wonky right there, so I just have to play with this fiberfill to get it nice. And then I still have this yarn tail here, so I'm going to weave that in so I never have to see it again. I'm going to cut it. And voila! There's the Christmas ball that matches the Christmas stocking, and here it is in the reverse. So if you have multiple stockings, you know, you can make a stocking that has the base as the white and the red is the motif, and then you can mix and match and do other colors too. I think this would be really pretty in a gray and white, or a pine green and white would be beautiful. So this is what this looks like, and I hope you were able to follow along. And if you want the chart for this pattern, just comment in the notes below ornament, and I'll send it to you. And also, if you're interested in all the motifs of this Christmas stocking, so we've got the snowflakes here, the tree, the pattern we just did, and then a different kind of snowflake here, and then we have more Fair Isle here. You can get the whole set and make the whole set of this. So you have all these different kind of snowflakes and trees and loveliness. So that you can use them as gift toppers or Christmas tree ornaments or garlands, and it would just go so perfectly with your Christmas stocking. So I hope that you enjoyed making this. If you want all the ornament patterns to go with this Christmas stocking, you can go to my website at thek4project.etsy.com, and you can purchase the pattern there, and a portion of the proceeds goes towards helping animals in need. So thank you in advance if you go that route. Otherwise, I hope this tutorial helped you and you're able to make some ornaments based on what I showed you. Don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials like this, and thanks for watching. Happy knitting!